So first off, it's a real honor to be asked to come here to talk to all of you by Keith, by Ruby Australia. It was quite unexpected, and yeah, I feel like I'm standing probably not on the shoulders, probably a little bit to the side, you know, slightly out of frame of Aaron and Corey and Dave Thomas, but I'm here. The good thing about doing a keynote is you don't have to get your talk qual-checked, and you don't have to actually write a bio saying why people should let you talk. So you get to talk about whatever you want, and which is fun. So I thought I'd talk about the future of Ruby in Australia because I'm pretty invested in this, and you'll see why in a moment. But let me just begin by, I've totally failed. I've actually managed to come to a keynote talk missing the one critical thing that you need to give a keynote talk, and that's an operating voice. So I was actually in America all last week. I was in America for 3 days, which is, by the way, the scientifically proven amount of time you need to get over jet lag. So I was over there for 3 days, and then I flew back, and I landed here on Wednesday morning. And I thought maybe, you know, it would all work, but here we go. The voice is all sexy and husky Michael. So you get sexy and husky Michael today. Consider it a rare privilege. My girlfriend's pissed off, but, you know, there you are. She's in Sydney. She misses out. I give it to you. So this talk is in 3 parts. I thought when I was writing this talk, I wanted to, you know, be a bit different, be a bit revolutionary. You know, go out there and try something a bit off the rails, you know. So this talk's, the first part is going to be a beginning. That's where I introduce the talk. The next part's going to be a middle bit, and that's where I talk about the talk. And then finally, crazily enough, we're going to have an end. I know, it's amazing. And in the words of Apple marketing, I think I've completely revolutionized public speaking. Completely. This is all new. It's completely redesigned. For the first time ever, you are going to achieve public speaking nirvana. It's actually funny because Apple own this position in the market. I mean, check this out. Search for all new Apple, right? 1.3 billion results. What the hell? And if you just search all new, Apple comes in second. And the only guy that beats him has got all new in the domain name. And that's just awesome. And you've got to really appreciate a company that can take a position like that. And there's something to think about with this in my talk, and you'll see what I mean. So without any further ado, let's not quite start yet. Let's wake up. So I know that this is the morning after the night before. You might notice my voice is hammering me for that. Actually, this morning when I woke up and I tried to say, "G'day," all that came out was, so that didn't work very well. And I've actually OD'd on Lemsip this morning. I had to show Aaron what Lemsip was, and he thought that was pretty cool. So what I want to do is we're just going to create some communication. So yesterday in Patrick's talk, you'll introduce yourselves to someone. What I want you to do, and this is a speed drill, in 5 seconds, you need to find 3 people in the room that you don't know. And if you have to yell hello at them to get their attention, that's totally fine. But you need to do that in 5 seconds, all right? You ready? 5 seconds. I know this is 5 seconds. I know, guys, that's a long time in Ruby land. Hang on. 5 dot times do sleep 1. Got it? Ready? Start.
Steve!
Hello. Yeah, that'll do. 5. We just got a timeout error. I don't know if there's anyone upstairs. Does anyone know if there's anyone upstairs? If there's anyone upstairs, can you stamp your feet really loud? Awesome. So everyone down here, say hello to them. Hello. Everyone up there, say hello down here. All right, are you here? Yeah? Okay, so this is RubyConf. So now let's actually do the beginning. Who am I? So I've done some open source stuff. I plan to change my post title to Aaron Patterson or Corey Haynes. Maybe Yehuda Katz. He's warm and fuzzy. I did the Mail gem. Mail was actually really interesting because Mail was my first attempt at programming Ruby in any serious way. You know, I'd done some small stuff and I'd written a couple of websites in Rails, but everyone knows that's not really programming Ruby. And I decided that I would actually learn how to write Ruby. And the reason I wrote Mail was because I actually had an app that needed Mail. And Michael Kozowski said that Tmail is a really good spam filter because Tmail was what was around before the Mail gem. And it's still around. I still sort of maintain it. It's on SVN. And Tmail has this wonderful property in that if it hits a malformed email, it just crashes. Just crashes your whole app. So it's a really good spam filter because all you need to do, because the way spam gets through Mail, basically the RFCs for Mail say that if you can't pass something, you have to let it through. So the way a lot of spam works is they write invalid email and send it into your spam filter, and your spam filter goes, yeah, I don't know how to handle this, and goes, well, I better let it through. It might be, you know, really important. So Tmail just crashes like that. So Coz suggested a great way to handle spam, which is just, you know, begin, parse the email, rescue, it's spam, trash. I tried that for a bit, and we actually lost all of the Outlook email that came into the system. So I thought, how hard could this be? You know, there's only really RFC 822, 2822, and about 20 more. And 2 years later, we released Mail. But yeah, it's really humbling. That's been downloaded like 12.5 million times. I mean, it's just incredible. There's 300 odd forks, about 200 contributors. And when Aaron was saying, and Corey, and you know, even last night in that Y video, there's a lot of responsibility when you take on a public open source project. But at the same time, it's so humbling. It's so humbling that you can go to that page and look and go, holy crap, there's that many people using that product. So yeah, that's my open source work. I also run Reinteractive. We're a web development shop. I've got my awesome team, most of them here today. They're all scattered around the room, hiding in these black t-shirts. Feel free to talk to them. We're all over Australia. We're always looking for good people, obviously. Everyone is. I run Still Alive. That's on your lanyard. And there is a 50% off thing on that lanyard, by the way. So if you sign up, or even if you're an existing customer, put in that promo code and you'll get 50% off. So give us a shot. What Still Alive does is actually checks the functionality of your website. And we're launching Status Hub. Status Hub's a status page app for applications. So instead of using Tumblr or Twitter or WordPress, this will inform your users and do all of that sort of stuff, and it just means you don't have to go through that pain of setting all that up. And there's stickers up the front, so if you want stickers, come and get me afterwards. So now let's do the revolutionized beginning. I said 3 parts, right? So I can't have a 4th part, so we'll just revolutionize it, because that's not a new product, it's only all new, as we know. Who here has seen that the iPhone 4 parody ad? Isn't it just incredible? If you haven't seen this thing, Google it. It's called the Banned iPhone 4 ad. And it's just hell funny. So what is the future of Ruby in Australia? And why should you care? You know, because there's so many of you here, right? It's not like Ruby is struggling to get traction. It's not like you guys going, holy shit, where am I going to get my paycheck next week from? I mean, if there is somebody in this room who is having that problem, see any one of the 45 recruiters that are hovering around this room. Ideally, see Steve, because he likes you. Steve from Look Ahead. And you won't be waiting long. The positions for even beginning Ruby developers are huge. So why should you care about this? Why is it even important? Because it looks bright. And it is. You know, in all honesty, I don't want to paint a picture of Ruby's going to fail, because it's not. But why should you care about the future? Oh, by the way, if my voice really gives out, I'm just going to start doing interpretive dance and hitting next. I won't take too much offense if you leave at that point, because I've only been practicing interpretive dance for about 4 years. So what determines the future? What determines the future of anything in this current economy Geez, that's a big call. Anything? What determines the future of anything commercial in this current economy? It's cash. Unfortunately, it's cold hard cash. Somebody has to be willing to pay you to write Ruby, even if that's not for profit, right? Someone's paying Aaron full-time to work on Rails. There has to be a commercial reason behind that, unfortunately. And while we can not rely on cash, either we get cash or we all go choose another profession. Because a profession, by definition, is something that you do in exchange for some sort of service, right? You sell it, and you're professionals. Profession is not a dirty word, despite what DHH says. So I'm going to talk about this issue in today's talk. You might think it's solved. I mean, seriously, look how many Ruby developers are in this room, and this was sold out. So maybe it is solved, but humour me. So this leads us to, can you guess? The middle bit. I know, it's revolutionary, isn't it? Don't you feel like you're in this calm space of public speaking? You know exactly what's coming next. So the market asks, why should I use Ruby? Why should they use Ruby? Why should your clients use Ruby? And in this talk, when I talk about a client, I don't mean somebody that you engage as a freelancer and they pay you money, right? That's obviously a client, but a client is also your boss. A client could be another business unit within your organization. A client could be the open source community if you're being paid to do open source work. Whoever the entity is that you're exchanging your product with is a client. So they ask, why should I use Ruby? I'm almost out of Lemsip. This is a challenge. Is it power? Is Ruby, oh, let me ask this question. Is Ruby the most powerful language in the world? No takers. Right. I mean, there are other more powerful languages, you know, like assembly. Python. PHP, XML, you know. I love that tagline on Nokigiri. XML's like violence if it's not working for you, you're not using enough of it. It's just so awesome. We actually had a client request for XML encoded JSON a few weeks ago. So there are more powerful languages than Ruby, which, you know, but power is so subjective, right? It's impossible to discuss what that might be. And for any one given application, there's differences, right? Ruby is pretty good. I mean, across the board, it's pretty good. It handles most things well, and that's cool. Is it speed? Is speed the reason you should use Ruby? No. Definitely not. There's a lot of faster languages out there. I mean, C, Java, assembly, whatever, right? Pretty much anything. Having said that, JRuby and Rubinius are making incredible inroads into this. And if you haven't seen a talk by Charles where he talks about how he does this crazy-ass... Are you in here, Charles? Yeah, he's asleep. Does this crazy-ass optimization of the Ruby language so that, or your code, so that every time it runs inside the system, it's re-optimizing itself, and it gets the performance curve sort of starts up here and it just goes like this. And then it's like a reverse hockey stick, and then it just peters off as it gets faster and faster and faster. And he's getting that almost to the speeds of just JVM, like just straight Java. And I mean, that's incredible. But Ruby is an interpreted language. It can never be faster than assembly or something else. So speed should not be the reason you use Ruby. Is it flexibility? Maybe. Ruby's pretty flexible. So is Lisp. So is any number of other languages. What about the maintainability? You know, Corey touched on this yesterday. It is very maintainable. It's easy to read. You know, I've had non-programmers, when I'm in a meeting with them telling them why they should use Ruby, I get them to say, well, look, here it is. You can actually see what it does. And they read it and they have this like, whoa, mind-blowing. I'm reading the insides of the computer, and they sort of feel like I should shoot them afterwards or something. It's like, I'm going to show you. Oh, damn it. I'm going to show you this, but then I'm going to have to kill you. But maintainability. Actually, if you ever want to impress a client in a sales meeting about Ruby, just run rake test or RSpec and say, see every one of those green dots? That's a tested feature of your system, making sure it's working. They go, whoa, it's really good. So maintainability, yeah, pretty strong point, but probably not the only reason you would buy Ruby. Is it the developers? Of course. But you can actually see this as a bit of a negative. How many companies do you know are looking for Ruby developers? Right. So maybe developers is actually not a reason to use Ruby, because there's not that many of them. Although there's more and more every day, and it's going to be a short-term problem, and in 5 years, it's not going to be a problem. And there's going to be more developers than there are positions. Maybe 10 years, but it's coming. It will happen. The fact that you can leave school and at the age of 25 walk into a $80,000 a year odd job, that just didn't happen 20, 30 years ago. And now it's like considered normal for this sort of community. But that won't last. So we need to be aware of that. The other thing is, if you do have a glut of work for the available developer pool, the sellers of that talent tend to become a bit lax. It's easy to go, well, there's plenty of work out there. I screwed up on that one. So it is something to be aware of, that developers can eventually be a problem. I should have warned you, this talk's actually got some serious stuff in it. It's not full of cats. I love you, Aaron. Well, actually, I did that because he sat in the front row and I said, oh, g'day, mate. And he goes, yeah, I've got the chief heckling position. I go, screw you. So I'm just getting it early. So then the clients ask, why should I use Ruby? In fact, why should I continue to use Ruby? I had a client, or not a client, a prospect a month ago discuss with us about getting a Ruby developer on, and they've decided to rewrite all of their Ruby in Java. Now, for them it's a business decision that makes sense because they have a Java team and their lead Ruby developer left and they couldn't find someone to take that position. So what are they going to do? They're going to outsource development of that for here on to the end of time? No. And it represented maybe 15% of their entire structure. So for them, it made sense for them to rewrite. So, it's not once we win ground, we keep it automatically. It's not like that. We need to, as a community, handle this and make sure it's okay. So the question comes up, why is Ruby better? What is it about Ruby that's better? What makes it the best when you get to talk to someone? We have the best language. Well, you know what? You shouldn't care. Never try and defend better. Never try and claim that you are better. This actually falls into Patrick's talk a little bit as well about the communities. As soon as I say to you, I'm better than you, how does that make you feel? Right. And instantly you want to justify yourself. And you go, well, no. Who are you to say you're better than me? And I mean, I don't need to convince you guys. Walk on to Hacker News and just say A is better than B, and you'll probably get a thread that goes for like 4 weeks. A is not better than B. It's not. Better is not critical. Yeah, A is much more aesthetic than B, though. It's sort of more contained, rounded, doesn't have that. Being better is not critical. It's important, right? If you want to sell your works, or you want to get hired, or you want to take that job, you need to be better than the others, right? It's not like it's not important. It's just not critical. Better, and the reason is that better is just an opinion. I mean, it is. It's easy to be convinced either way, unless you're talking about MySQL and Postgres. But it is easy to be convinced either way. And you can always change it. You can take someone who firmly believes that A is better than B, and over a period of time, you know, and baseball bats and whatever, you can convince them that B is better than A. And it will, you know, it can happen. So being better is just a me too strategy. Because everyone's trying to claim they're better. You go out and look at advertising in the world, and it's like, the best, the most wonderful, the all new, the better. It's better than before. It's better, it's better, it's better, right? Notably, Apple don't push better. They push all new, revolutionized, redesigned, recreated, a new experience. We're changing the world. We're altering the way that you think. We're doing something different. Being better is a losing strategy, and I don't think we should try and claim it as a Ruby community. What we should try and do is be different. There's something about Ruby that is different to every other language out there. And ideally, you can use this in any marketing that you're doing. Of yourself, when you're submitting a CV if you want a job, of your company, of any marketing slogan you're doing. Don't try and claim better, claim difference. Because difference is what will stand out. Difference is what will make you be remembered afterwards. Oh yeah, we had 7 consultancies come along and they all said that they were by per hour, but you know, Reinteractive said blah. And we remember them for that. And the fact that he was wearing a Hawaiian shirt really made an impact. And it's funny, you know, the board of directors didn't mind so much. But even better than being different, be unique. If you can be unique, no one else can encroach your market. No one else can take that position because, well, it's unique. And the future of Ruby in Australia really does boil down to a PR and marketing problem, I had to say it. It's not a technical problem. The technical problem is solved. Ruby's awesome. Thank you. I mean, it is. People love programming Ruby. So what we want to do is we want to be unique. Unique is unassailable. Unique is, well, unique. There's only one of them. I love that modern use of the word unique. It was so unique. It was like amazing. They were all really unique. Like, no. So why is Ruby unique? What makes Ruby unique? Matt says nice. Yeah, that's a really good one. So the audience suggested DHH and I will withhold his name. No, but yes, he definitely makes it unique. Matt says nice is another one. Community. The community. Hell yeah. That's very unique. What? Gems. Gems. Yeah. Rails girls. Yeah, absolutely. What? You deserve a beer. I was really not expecting someone to get that. I was planning on going, yeah, you know, all of those. Can I do this anyway? Yeah. Yeah, all of those. They were really good. But you know what really makes Ruby unique? Yeah, you've all been sitting here for 10 minutes trying to guess. You've all been sitting here trying to figure it out, but there's one thing. One thing that makes Ruby unique. Just one. Oh, thank you. The goal of Ruby is to make programmers happy. This is insane. You know, I mean, it's brilliant, but it's also insane. I actually sit down, when I'm talking with clients, I use this as a pitch. You might think I'm crazy, but it works. Why? This is unique. I mean, I've looked, I don't think there's any other language that has that as its goal. And Matt was incredibly visionary when he did this. He goes, I'm going to optimize for programmer happiness. I'm not going to really give a toss about speed, memory consumption, any of this other trollop. Because, you know, Mr. Moore's got my back. And basically it's worked out. You know, there's no way that you try doing Rails S on a computer more than 5 years old. But no other language has this goal of developer happiness. And why should the client care about this? Why should they care about this? What is it about developer happiness that means that the clients are going to win? Well, I could make you guess, but that asshole's just going to tell me straight away. So, happy developers produce better code. Happy developers produce better code. And this isn't just my pontification or whatever that word is. It's true. What makes a happy developer? What? Yeah, good. Awesome. I don't even know if I can repeat that. What was it? Autonomy, mastery, and purpose. That's a great one. Oh, no, man, take it. He's not here. What's your name? I could record it. Jeremy. Autonomy, mastery, and purpose. And that's actually from Jeremy, from Ruby. RubyConf Australia, second day. You heard it here first. Hello, Internet. Jeremy's over there. He's awesome. Just don't talk to that asshole in the back right corner. The truth is that what makes a developer happy is actually production. This was actually found in 72. And there's an evidence of this. And there's this paper that I found a couple of days ago when I wasn't trying to prepare my keynote in a mad rush before we started, that says, I'll read it out. It's called The Casual Impact of Employee Work Perceptions on the Bottom Line of Organizations paper. Its acronym is CEOM. And what it was they did an investigation of 2,178 business units and got everyone to take a log of every day that they were there and to determine when they were happy and when they weren't happy. And the one thing they found, 20 years after this guy wrote that, was that developer happiness, the key way to improve anyone's happiness in an organization is make them productive. That was the single easiest way to make anyone happier at work, is give them productive work and make them feel valued for that work. And then Matt comes out with this. So he's written a language that's designed to make developers happy. And then he's got the second goal of having every Ruby programmer in the world being productive. That's awesome. No one else does this. But there is a catch. I had to find somewhere to put a meme in. Ruby lets us produce. It lets us get out real products. But you got to get products out, you know? How true is that? I mean, it's sort of impossible because if you're a happy developer, you're producing. But if you're producing code that no one's going to use, you get no cash. And if you get no cash, you don't have a job. And if you don't have a job, you're not going to do Ruby. And then, you know, you wouldn't be able to come and hear me speak. I know that's all high on your minds as an important life goal. But producing something is really critical, but what's more critical than producing it is getting it into the hands of the consumer that's going to consume it. We need to exchange some valuable final product with the end user. Some package of goodness that we can give to someone and get them to take that and take ownership of it. And this is what Ruby is actually really good at doing because we can produce things really fast. What's a valuable final product? Well, here's a definition, one definition. There are many, but this is a good one. A finished high-quality service or article in the hands of the consumer as an exchange for a valuable. And that valuable can be anything. It can be support, can be cash, can be whatever you want. But it's an exchange. It's something that I go, here is something, and then you give me something back. I mean, for example, this talk has a valuable final product. You could say it's the audience is entertained. You could say that I give you some idea. I help you change something about your future or let you look at something in a new way. But there is a valuable final product of a talk, and it's actually measured by applause at the end and laughter and the tone of the audience. But everything you do in life has a valuable final product. Everything, if it's important. Last night's valuable final product, it seemed, was to be smashed, plastered, not find your way back to the hotel. That's a good VFP for a night out. So what is exchangeable Ruby then? What is it that we're trying to create here? What is it that we can give to somebody else? Is it poor quality, untested code full of bugs? That's a trick question. No. Is it every feature the client wants? Right. No. Is it perfectly written, 110% tested, beautifully refactored code? No. That was a trick question. Thank you, Ryan, for taking that bait. Is it enough to trick the client into paying you? No. And thank you for Aaron. Is it the software we think you paid for? Hell yeah. No. Is it a Rails 4 beta? Is that out today, Aaron? I didn't quite have time to put that in the slide deck, but that would have been pretty cool. No. In Ruby, we tend to do this, right? Rapid constant delivery. I mean, it comes under many names. There's Agile, there's Scrum, there's Agile. I didn't put Scrum down. But this idea of, does the team regularly produce value for their stakeholders, right? This concept of Agile, this concept of constantly delivering something, is simply constantly delivering a VFP, a valuable final product, something that that audience, that end user can take and use and generate more activity from. In the criteria for Agile, this is the first point. Does the team regularly produce value for their stakeholders? And there's this awesome graph, which I haven't read, but the top one says producing working software. The legend might say the most undesirable things. Hang on, let me check. No? Yep. How agile are you? So are you producing working software? This idea of continuous delivery, of constantly producing. Continuous delivery should be expanded to have an exchangeable valuable final product. Something that can be exchanged. And if you can do this as a developer, your boss or your client will love you. You will never have a problem with job security. I read this thing that job security is a myth. You will keep your job for as long as you create it, and not a moment longer. And if you stop creating your job by stop delivering exchangeable products, you won't have a job. And whether you know it or not, you're doing this. You're delivering. And if you're not delivering, you're probably looking for work. And this is what makes Ruby unique. Not that we do this, but that our language allows us to do this in such a happy and fun way. I mean, can you imagine how much fun you'd be having if you were writing assembly to handle web requests? I mean, wouldn't that be exciting? Wouldn't you just want to get up in the morning and go, I'm going to write the bit that reads the fourth line of the header. And by June, yeah, we're going to have 200 OK coming back. So exchangeable Ruby. What is exchangeable Ruby? It's something that gives the client a return. Something that gives them something, right? Exchangeable Ruby isn't something that you give to a client and they never use. Because what's the point? I just burnt money. I just wasted whatever. It's something that's running in production. You know, it's no point building the most beautiful app in the world if it then doesn't even start or if it's not live. And there's no point using up all of the budget that the client has, making it beautiful, and then going to the ops team and saying, oh, by the way, there's no money left, but can you just get this running? Doesn't work. So as a Ruby developer, you've got to think through this process, right? You can't just look at this. The more you can look across the entire process, the more productive and powerful you will be as a developer. Exchangeable Ruby is something that becomes self-sustaining. Great example of this. My team are awesome. Like my team at Reinteractive, some of the best developers in the world, the best. They're really different. Yeah. And we had a client that needed to get a prototype out. And they had a limited budget, you know? So we got the prototype out. But because we exchanged that prototype and it was live and he could go show people, he got a lot more return from that. And because of that, he then invested in us to produce the next stage, right? But if we hadn't gotten that prototype out, would have we gotten the next stage? No. Did the prototype have everything the client wanted? No. You know, maybe 80% complete. It was pretty good. It looked good. It was very exchangeable. It had a high exchange factor. And that's what made it possible for us to win the next round on that project. My voice is going, and can I get some water? Just anyone? So exchangeable, oh, look at that, he gives me his own bottle of water. That's love. That's what makes Ruby awesome. PHP conference, they just throw it at me. It doesn't have to earn money. You know, something that's exchangeable doesn't have to earn money. You might be sitting there going, oh, you know, yeah, this is great and awesome, but I write open source software and I don't have to get any money. Well, it doesn't have to earn money. You know, a really good measure of if some... Oh, I'm sorry, were you trying to be unobtrusive? It's unobtrusive, Keith. He walks around and there's ID tags following him everywhere. You know, it doesn't have to earn money. A really good idea of exchange is, you know, I'm giving something to you, you're going to give something back to me. Who feels like they owe Aaron Patterson a beer? You are so drunk, man. But do you see? He's exchanging with everyone in this room. And so does everyone else who writes open source. Put your hand up if you've ever written a line of open source. Right. Did you do it for the money? It doesn't have to earn money. I wrote the mail gem. Last month, I actually earned money out of it. So I can't use that as an example anymore. Damn it. But a valuable final product must earn some sort of support. Doesn't matter what that is. And, you know, it could be support in the form of being asked to come and give a keynote at RubyConf. I mean, really, this is a direct result of me putting in 6 months of work on the mail gem 2 years ago and then every month since. And that's an example. It's a valuable final product. It's out there. It was exchanged with you. You, the community, have downloaded it 12.5 million times. And it's that little piece of mail that sends you all those reminders that say someone may have reset your password. I'm responsible for those. So, and it's not just to your client. You're giving something to the client. But the client has to take whatever it is you produced for them and exchange it with somebody else. And if they can do that, you're in clover. You'll never have a problem with money. And why is that? Because if you deliver a piece of software to a client and they take that piece of software and go, wow, thanks, you know, you're awesome, here's your check. And you go, well, yeah, I'm exchangeable. I mean, you could achieve that with Adequate Inc.'s wonderful policies, right? Because you can pretty much demo your way out of anything. And Adequate forgot to mention their fourth product, which is Demoology. And that's just a process where they take random screenshots of different websites and it automatically changes the theme and the color to just look like one page. And then they deliver it, right? And it looks great in the boardroom, but it doesn't produce anything. So you can deliver something to a client. But if they can't take your product and go to their client and say, hey, check this out, look what I've made for you, and their client goes, hey, wow, awesome, here's a check, are they going to hire you again? If they take your product out and launch it, and the first thing it does is it crashes and it has errors all over the page, how are they going to feel? They're not going to be warm and fuzzy about you. They're going to be on the phone to you, not being warm and fuzzy. No. So when you're thinking of this idea of exchange, think the way through the stack. And sometimes if you're in a really big development group, this can be hard to think with. But you know, it's not really that bad. It's one of the reasons we have pull requests and team pairing and all that sort of stuff, because the client's client, when you're developing, you know, if you're doing a patch within Rails, you're doing a patch within Rails, this tiny line of code somewhere, your client's client is going to thank you. You know, the people that develop this and run it in production elsewhere. And the whole idea of when you're programming and producing maintainable code, readable code, code that is self-documenting, code that's easy to alter and change, that's the idea of the client's client in that example, right? And the more that you can produce your code to be that higher quality, the better your whole life is going to end up being. But if you're in the world of selling your code for cash, you know, there is that programmer datum that a programmer is a machine that translates caffeine into lines of code. And caffeine, we need to buy it, right? It's expensive stuff. So get this idea of trying to find the exchangeable through that stack. Who's your client's client? Who's going to be the final user of this? I mean, some examples of this, right? A valuable final product could earn money. This is the simplest one. You build an online shopping store for someone, they put it online, they earn money. Win. Easy, right? You know they're doing okay because you can call them and go, hey, how you doing? And they go, I'm doing okay. And it's really simple, right? It could earn attention. A valuable final product could earn attention. Attention for what? Who cares? But attention, like the camps that you do, Corey. He delivers that valuable final product. It's not for attention. I'm not saying that's the only thing he does it for. But we know him for that, right? And it generates that attention. I mean, his exchange with the community is off the charts. He helps everyone produce, like in this example, he's thinking with his client's client. And that's why we all appreciate him. Huh? And the cats. It could earn gratitude. You could have something for a client that you deliver that's a bit out of the scope of what you're required to deliver. Deliver a bit extra. And what do you get back from that? You get gratitude. You get the chance of doing this all over again. Yeah, that was good. I actually managed to cup it so that it made the cough louder. Sorry about that. Hey, that's pretty good. No. It could earn promotion. You're delivering something live, and suddenly millions of people around the world are looking at it and loving it and thinking it's awesome. Good reason to write a gem. It could earn investment. You're creating something that's a prototype that client is then going to take out and say, hey, isn't this awesome? Come and invest in my product so I can build more of it. But the important thing is make sure whatever it is you produce earns some sort of support, some sort of exchange, something that's going to come back. And that's the critical bit. And if you can do that as a Ruby developer every single day, and if you optimize what you're working every single day towards that, you'll do pretty well. So now we have the end bit. I told you it was in 3 parts. Why will Ruby continue to do well? Because it's optimized for developer happiness. Happy developers produce quality code in volume. Quality code makes a happy client. But only if you focus on the valuable final product. Give the client what they need, not what they want, but give them a lot of it. Go out there and leverage Ruby's uniqueness. Write code. Be happy about it. Enjoy it. Have that passion. Be the most productive developer that you can be. Don't try and be better than Fred. but be the best developer you can be, and you'll never be wanting for work. And one more thing. This is a revolutionized end. The all-new end. I've completely redesigned the end. Be prepared to defend your right to deliver a valuable final product. If you're given a project that can't be done in the scope or the time available, don't start it. Negotiate it. And negotiate it from a position of power and say, hey, look, I can try, and we may, and it might, or I will, and I can, and it does. Reduce that scope and think with the project all the way through. My guys at my company are particularly good at this, and they think with this, and it's awesome. And it makes my job as a manager a lot more fun. Let's become known as a uniquely productive and happy language. Man, I tried hard to make this pithy, but it just came out long. But seriously, let's become known as this language where the developers are happy. I think we already have taken that as a position. You know, how many people here where Ruby is not their first language? Put your hand up. Yeah, exactly right. But if we do this, Ruby will continue to succeed. And if you do this, you will continue to succeed. Thank you very much.